it's sometimes difficult to start a company here in Japan, a new company, and maybe more difficult when compared to the United States that has this very strong startup culture. How do you see those challenges for starting a company or for the market entry for those potential Swiss startups coming to Japan? What are the biggest challenges at the moment that people need to be aware of, maybe if they want to establish themselves here in Japan?
Maybe biggest challenge is patience at the beginning. That actually does not go as quick as maybe in other countries. But on the other hand, once it's established, it runs for decades. So that's the usual saying. At the beginning, it's a little bit tough to get in, but once you're in, it really runs by itself. We try to accelerate this a little bit. So the first difficult moments, so by having links to the companies, also to build the trust in this regard, to see what are the forms to communicate with the companies to better introduce the startups. So basically, we try to establish a landing pad that links to the companies. So actually to soften the landing in Japan and maybe accelerate through our wait to be a Swissnex in Japan. Also that we are kind of a trusted source also for the companies, that the companies can come back to us and, for example, say, look, Felix, and please, your team, if you have something in this field, like a drone company or a company that is in robotics for any kind of wishes from the companies, we can go back and search maybe for the best solutions and present. And this sometimes happens.
So in a way, Swissnex becomes this sort of a seal of trust, or like a seal of quality that bridges the gap between the international world, or maybe in this case specifically Switzerland and Japan, where when the companies struggle to trust a complete foreign entity at first, and by foreign entity I don't mean necessarily foreign from outside of Japan, but just something new, you will vet this new entity first and basically give it a seal so the trust is established faster between the startup and maybe the industry.
Yes, I mean, that's absolutely correct. So we are not the one who is vetting, because at the end that's the company that has to decide whether the startup fits or not, and can have maybe the products what they need. But what we definitely do is building the bridge. So we're the bridge builder in this regard, also to show that actually the quality behind it is on a level actually that the company expects. And we are also extremely fortunate that we have extremely strong, universities that produce these startups back in Switzerland.
Like ETH in Zurich?
ETH or EPFL or many other universities in Switzerland that have a very strong basis. And the students, they learn in the universities how to create, how to build their startups. So it's a DNA. So the entrepreneurship virus is implanted, so they have already the right DNA, but it's a part of the curriculum at university. So for the students, it's not unusual to start during their studies or after their studies to work for startups. It's quite common. And when you can show that actually the universities have an extremely high level in the rankings, and you are able to explain this to the companies or also to the VCs and other investors in Japan. So suddenly they understand actually it's a solid basis where the startups come from. And maybe the most surprising effect is that the survival rate of Swiss startups is in average. So the first 5 years and that a startup survives is 80%.
That's really long. Usually I would expect a lot to maybe fail after the first or second year, but yes, 80% survival over 5 years. It's a big achievement.
Maybe only a very quick remark to this. The Japanese are very risk averse. So that means also to invest money into a startup, it takes maybe a little bit longer, but when you come with startups that have an extremely high survival rate, it breaks down the barrier. And so it literally helps us to position the startups much better in Japan.